So I'm out here with the moss gardens that I had started. There's one right there. With a lot of them, what I started doing is I started converting them into seed beds. Been having a lot of success. Each one of these moss garden seed beds has a different type of soil in it. This one here that has maples growing, that's my little scarecrow. It has a couple of maples growing in there, and then I'll have to get in a little closer so you can see right here. I believe that's an oak. No, it's most likely an oak, but don't quote me. I've had two of these stolen by squirrels. You can see this is a very muddy, hard, compacted stuff that's in here. I don't do anything to it, but once I planted the samaras and the acorns, I just leave it. You can see one has been shed. It's right here. And I just leave it. The ones that are covered are ones that have not sprouted as of yet. I don't do anything extra. It's either they survive or they don't. These ones here I had uncovered because I was collecting rainwater. So I'll just show you the ones that have sprouted. Right here I have a little rooting competition going on where I had made a couple of cuts. Well, there's a cicada wing. I had made a couple of pruning cuts on a tree that I had because I was trying to get it to bud back. So I took the cuttings and I stuck them in the soil. Only one is surviving. And this is actually the hardwood. These are really soft green and they're not doing anything. But what I've learned is even if the leaves don't survive, typically is the stem maintains its color. If I cut off these dead leaves, it'll still root. And even with this one, that just because it's still got these green roots, it doesn't mean these green leaves, it doesn't mean it's gonna root. I just have to leave it until it decides what it's going to do. So just in front of it, I have some other, this one has multiple seeds in it. I don't know what type of tree that is. They do come out of samaras. This here came out of samara. I believe it's a beech, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just in barky soil. This maple sapling here that sprouted, this is a very hard, sandy mess. And all it is just some stuff that I had left over. And I just buried the seed in there. I'm probably gonna break this up a little bit later because it's very, very compacted. So if we move up, this is a Lagostromia indica. It's a Natchez crepe myrtle, and it's really doing well. This might be, and also this moss that's in here with it. This moss is moss I collected in the city while I was out foraging. I find some great moss everywhere. Just in front of it, I have a maple tree, plus another type that I do not know. This is one I don't know what that is. It might be a weed. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it for now. And all this is pine bark mulch. And there you have the maple sapling growing in it. Here, this is one that's growing. You can see there's a samara right there. It might be 2 or 3 other saplings, seeds in here. But this one's growing, and all this is some grit that I had left over. It's muddy, messy, nothing. It's just a bunch of There's nothing growing in that one just yet. I'll take you over here so you can see my 2 prize trees that have grown. Here, this is a Norway pine, and whatever that is, I think that's a maple tree. It lost its top leaves to, because I think it was a mold that got on there and they rotted off, but the sapling is still alive, so I'm gonna leave it. I have a double potting right here where I'm letting I put the roots in a base. They're growing through the bottom of this kitchen utensil that I'm using. Here, this is a windowsill pot, and I have to clean this out every so often because tree seeds get into it, like whatever that is. It comes from the tree of heaven, and look, I just dropped it back in there, got it out. So I have this oak tree here and this red maple here growing in there. I'll leave them in there until they're hardwood and the roots are growing strong. So let's go over here, and again I have this barky mulch. So I'll give you a side view so you can see the cross section, so you can actually see through it. There's this barky mulch that's in here. This thing gets invaded with ants. So these are 2 ornamental plum trees. They have suffered from this white. If you look on this tree, right on this leaf right here, you see these white spots. I've been using neem oil. Neem oil has been helping. Ants get in here. Occasionally I come in and I toss this soil up. Excuse that train horn. And I toss the soil up to aerate it. But the trees seem to be doing okay. And of course there's wind-blown trash like this gets in here. So I come in and clean it out every once in a while. And I have this here to catch gnats. But I've been able to control the gnats with neem oil. Occasionally I get stuff growing, like there's something growing right there, and I'll come and pluck it out. This seed bed is strictly for these 2 ornamental plums. I didn't even realize I had planted one so close to the edge there. I thought I had planted them all towards the middle. It might have got tossed up when I was in here aerating the soil, but these trees have been doing very, very well since they've been in here. Those are my 2 favorite, even though I love all of the trees. I keep my little toy, I guess that's a lizard in here. I got it next to this oak tree to keep the birds away, because sometimes they'll come through here and peck the soil until they find what they're looking for. But having him in here will help. I'm also going to get a blow-up snake to put back here to keep the critters away. But those are the ones that have sprouted. I'll let you look inside one that's working. So this operates like a miniature greenhouse. This is how I've sprouted all of my trees. Put them inside here, close this up, and you see the water collects on top here, then it rains back down. And inside here are, don't quote me, but I believe it's Lagostromia natchez is in here. 2 seeds. Hopefully they will root. If they don't, something else will get planted in there. And then I have another partial greenhouse that I've made out of this old crate in the top of a bin that I don't need. Sometimes I'll keep this off. And under here are a variety. That's a very miniature See, it's not even the length of my finger. That's a false cypress, Cypress specifera. Here's a maple tree. All these are from Samaras. This little stem here, as you see, it has this color in it. I believe that is a, let me think. I think that is a, it's either American, it's either a London plane tree or American sycamore or red maple. I don't know, because it's been sitting in the soil forever and it has roots. It has a bud here. You can see this bud right there, and it simply didn't pop when spring came. This is a Natchez crepe myrtle. It's not doing well, but like I said, the strong survive. They get watered, and that's pretty much all that happens. I'll show you one other thing, or two other things. This first thing is, occasionally what I do is I'll leave this top. There's a spider that's, I don't like upsetting the spiders, but the spiders help me control insects. So you can see him making his way. So here's my water. Some of you may recognize that little donut looking thing in there is Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. So what I do sometimes is I'll leave this off, and the mosquitoes are fooled into coming here. Look at that spider. The mosquitoes are fooled into coming here and laying their eggs, and then they die. It's a mosquito trap, but it's also my watering system. This is rainwater. And so I have that going. I apologize for upsetting the poor little spider. So here I go with the water, borrowing the phrase from Nigel Saunders. I believe his name is Nigel. With a little water there. And these have not rooted, but they stay out full sun. They get the full brunt of the weather. These did the same thing. They stayed outside until they rooted. I don't know if these seeds in here are going to root or not, but once they're rooted, they get protected over here. And then lastly, I have this little outdoor garden that I've made with various types of rock and moss, wood, old driftwood. And what's planted here, I have to get way down. Look at that. It's a miniature Cypress specifera. And there's the last one in this little outdoor garden. Those rocks on the end right there are for controlling, they control flooding and erosion. Now, the only bad thing about this outdoor garden with these little rooted cuttings here is that this soil is pure akadama, and it doesn't do well in the winter. When it freezes, it loses all the moisture already, of course, because it hasn't been raining that much. But when it freezes, it turns into these miniature spires. Let's give the far end of the miniature garden a water. It might be a pretty hot day today, so that water will be okay. That'll last it for a couple of days. You can see just how far down these Cypress specifera are. They're very, very tiny. And those are from hardwood cuttings from a Cypress specifera. I used to have hundreds of the cuttings, but these are the only ones that survived. So that's all I have for you. And these are my main trees here. that are still developing is my humble sycamore maple, as Peter from Heron's Bonsai calls it. Very humble tree, developing well. Let you take a look at it. I'm just letting it grow this year. All right, so y'all have a nice day.